Okay, good evening and welcome to Mindful Conversations. I'm Dr. Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha, and I am a life coach specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. I am also a speaker and a holistic practitioner, and Mindful Conversations is my way of giving back to open our hearts, open our minds, get people to understand what your life could be if you are more mindful, if you practice self-care. And I have the joy of interviewing the most spectacular people every single week, women and men, although I tend to seem to have more women on the show than men. That doesn't mean men are not welcome, but they absolutely are. And tonight, it's no different. I have an absolutely fabulous lady on tonight. She's awesome, creative, inspiring, very funny, very upfront, which I love. Totally fits my personality. And the great part is her name rhymes with my name too. So this is Dori DeCarlo. So Dori is she is so many things. She is a mom. She is a grandma, an entrepreneur. She's also the host of a fabulous radio show called Word of Mom Radio, and is on Blog Talk Radio and shares shares mompreneurs. She interviews people, interviews mompreneurs, that special breed of business women that owns a successful business and is raising a family at the same time. And she says, contrary to belief, they are not women who dabble in business. They are smart, savvy, successful businesswomen. Yes, that's what I say, who have found the balance between parenting and business building. And week after week, she shares amazing women she has met on this social media journey and gives voice as they together break the myths that women can't have it all. We can, okay? She also is the founder and owner of Safety Bags, Inc., which was born out of a need to keep our schools safe. I'm going to read her quote. I am a hands-on mompreneur who is committed to bringing bags and backpacks that are stylish, ergonomically designed, and offer true durability and ease to the marketplace. It's more than just security when it comes to safety bags. It's about being a parent and not wanting anyone to kiss their child goodbye, send them off to school, and not have them come home. Safety bags have been featured in some amazing stuff. So these are really great. They're clear bags. They're great for stadiums because, you just look right in it. You see right through it. Both professional and college sports require that any bag larger than your palm be clear. We've been featured in Worldwide Business with Kathy Ireland, commercials with As Seen on TV, Pro with Kevin Harrington, or Original Shark from Shark Tank, In Style TV, GMA and the Super Bowl, World Series, Lakers, Jazz, and Rangers yearbooks, and this season in the New York Yankees magazine and yearbook. Girl, you are just absolutely fabulous. Safety Bags has won the Family Choice Award in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 with a 110 out of 110 from all 12 judges and the Fever and New York Yankees Game Changer contest. So we're going to talk a little bit about safety bags as well, but I do want to really get into Word of Mom Radio. But before we do all of that, I'm going to give you a chance now, because that's the most I talk through this. Truly the most I talk. How are you? How have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. It's been was it like 2 years since I've been on your radio show, or is it last year? I think it's 2 years.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. She looks fabulous, by the way. She sent me her picture, and she decided to go with the gray, and you look absolutely spectacular. I mean, stunningly spectacular. I've had several friends that have just decided to go gray or white, and each one of them look just like amazing. Just absolutely. You look very peaceful, very free. Is that about right?
It's funny. I started going gray in my early 40s, and my sons were like, Mom, you don't even have lines on your face. Why would you want to have gray hair? And so I started coloring, and about I don't know, 5 years ago, I stopped putting anything permanent in my hair, but I would use powders and sprays and things to keep my dark brown hair because I was trying to give myself a palette. I didn't want, because I have really long, I mean, my hair is in a ponytail right now and you can see how long it is.
It's very long,
I didn't
yes.
want all of a sudden to just have these, I didn't want to look like Pepe Le Pew, where you have that, the, in the back it's dark and then you turn around, it's like, oh, okay. So I wanted to take the time. So over these years, and then about 6 or 7 months ago, before COVID, I was like, you know what? I'm done. It's long enough now. I was afraid it would age me. And it really hasn't. And it
No.
was so funny. I was at a dinner or a luncheon in October, and there we are sitting there, and I had my hair kind of in a clip here. So I love all the streaks in it and everything. And this woman was like, and thank you, because women like you in your 40s that are letting your hair go gray, really help women like us. And I'm like, are you talking to me? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I'll be 59 in November. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And the reality is, if I had a lot of lines on my face and I actually looked my age, trust me, I would not have gray hair. But since I don't, I'm like, why not? And now it's wonderful because girls in their 20s and 30s, it's become the fashion
I
to put gray in your
know.
hair.
It's to me, it's so mind blowing. I mean, and they look good with it. They look adorable. But it's so funny because, we came from a generation where it's like the moment you see like one, you're like plucking it, and then you realize I'm not supposed to pluck it, and you're like, I got to do whatever I can to cover it up. And here they are coming out with gray, and they look spectacular. They absolutely do. So that's so funny that you brought that up.
It's true though. And it's funny because the picture that I sent to you, that was me. Somebody had put up a meme, as everybody started making their avatars on Facebook. Now everybody has avatars. And somebody said how people are doing that because they don't want people to see their COVID gray. And I took my camera and I went just like that and took that picture and put it up. And it's like, you know what? Here it is. And then the next time I wash my hair and I let it go curly, I'm like, and here it is curly, because I don't need a meme. And we should be able to embrace this.
Yes.
Men are allowed to age.
Yes.
And women are supposed to fight it at every turn. And you know
Yes.
what? I take good care of my skin. I haven't used things that aren't organic on my face in decades. I don't wear face makeup unless I'm going on stage when I'm performing or if I'm speaking. I wear mascara because my mother told me that I have to wear mascara every day. And so I do. But other than that, but I take good care. I mean, let's face it, it's your face. And you should take care of your skin because if you don't, nobody else is going to. The same reason I buy myself flowers. I live alone. If I don't get myself flowers, who's going to buy me flowers? I'm going to wait for my kids for some
I'll buy
special
you
occasion.
flowers. I'll buy
There
you
you
flowers.
go. Thank
Everybody
you.
buy her flowers. We'll get you a dress and then just send her flowers. All of a sudden, you're going to get inundated with all these.
I know, right?
So listen, lady, you are a busy lady, and you have been doing. How long have you had the radio program now? How many years?
In this iteration, Word of Mom is in our 8th year.
8th year.
So, and it's really, it's exciting. I did this to give women like me a voice. Mompreneurs, women that are building their businesses from home, who've had to live through when are you going to quit this and get a real job?
Oh my,
all
yes.
those other things that you hear people say to you. And I've gone from when are you going to quit this and get a real job to when are you going to grow your business big enough to hire me? But I wanted to give women a voice because I think we're sometimes our own worst enemies. Very often, I feel like women don't support each other because we get into that high school mentality of, oh, I can't help you because you're going to steal my boyfriend. Or what if they like you more than they like me? Men never care about that.
No.
Joe doesn't care if you like Charlie more than him and that's who you take golfing. As long as you're giving him your business, go hang out with whomever you want. But women tend to stay closer to the vest with all of their everything. And
Yes.
so I wanted to create a show where women empowered each other, where we break the myths that we're, you know, dabbling in business in between bake sales and getting our nails done. We're not. Because we are smart, we are savvy. We may not be successful yet, depending on what your terms of success is. But here's the thing, if you've gotten your business started, you are a success.
Yes.
You are a success story. It doesn't matter that you haven't made a sale yet or anything else. Just opening those doors makes you a success.
Yes,
And what you
absolutely.
have to do to keep it going is what you have to do to keep it going. And so it's exciting to see everything that's happening with Word of Mom Radio. We've been syndicated into iHeartRadio and iTunes and Spotify and all of the different podcast feeds, and that actually happened organically. I didn't submit our stuff to them or anything else. We were lucky. FeedSpot in 2018, I get an email. Congratulations, you know, you're in the top 20 podcasts for mompreneurs has been put out. And we were in it, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder where we are. And we were number one. And
Wow.
3 years in a row.
Oh
The
my
number one
goodness.
podcast. You know what? It's testament to the amazing women I share, because my sparkling personality is only going to get us so far. You know? But I've gotten the opportunity to share amazing women, amazing businesses and products and services. And just, it's remarkable how many women are out there on a global level looking for a voice, looking for a
Yes.
place where they can feel empowered, feel encouraged, and feel supported and support other people, because each one of the stories we tell is the blueprint for someone else to follow.
Correct.
You know, I'm always really upfront about our struggles and my struggles and, you know, opening a business, closing a business. I mean, all of the things that I have gone through with the clear bags and whatnot. And I always say I'm the poster child of everything not to do when you
Oh
are
yes,
starting
me
a
too.
business.
Yes, me too.
Right? You know, I mean, really, it's like, learn from my mistakes. Trust me, I say it all the time. I'm not a businesswoman. I play one on TV. Because, I mean, if I actually knew what I was doing in business, I'd be dangerous. You know, I'm just a mom trying to make a difference. That's really all it boiled down to, is that I was a mom trying to make a difference for our kids, and I'm a mompreneur trying to support other mompreneurs and other business women out there that need a place to come and be able to share their journey.
And I think that's become the big movement over the last few years. I also have another friend too, that she has an organization, a business called Lead Up for Women. She does the same exact thing, and it's about women supporting women. And I think we've started to open our eyes and fight for this, to say, why are we like fighting each other? Like, there's plenty to go around. There's plenty of success. Instead of having that scarcity mindset, you have that abundant mindset to say, there's plenty. Because some women, you know, they want to have their own business, but they only want to have it this big. And then there's some that want to have it really big, you know. And the point is that if you help somebody else, even if they get, you know, more popular than you, it doesn't matter, because you're exactly where you need to be. And if you want to be bigger and better, then you go for it. And then you reach out and ask for help. And I love it. I love your radio show. I love my friends Lead Up for It. It's the same. It's all the same. It's like, I'm gonna share information with you. That's an abundant mindset. I'm gonna share it no matter what, whatever that means. And if it helps you, great. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm sharing it because I want to share it. And I'm sharing everything. I'm not holding back certain things so that you only get pieces of it, so that you don't get as popular as me. And because that always backfires anyway. That's not the way the universe seems to work. It could work for a short period of time for people. Backstabbing, we know, has worked. People have gotten up there on the top with that. But I think we're seeing there's so much that's not sustainable anymore. It's like, why? We're better when we're really good, and we're better as humans when we're helping each other and boosting each other and applauding each other and admitting, yep, I screwed up, and yep, so did I, and let's celebrate that together, you know, and enjoy it and enjoy ourselves and life.
Without a doubt, you know, I shared something on our Word of Mom media network page on Facebook, and it was a photograph of a bread aisle in the supermarket, and how there are 15 or 20 different bread companies on those shelves in that one aisle. There's room enough for all of us.
Yes.
There really is, because no one business, no one company, I don't care who you are or what you do, it is impossible for you to be of service to everyone who would need what you do. There
Yes.
have to be multiple people's. With our clear bag company, people say to me, what about competition? I'm like, first of all, you know, we're not a company that has one bag. I mean, we field tested 24 different designs. Even when we launched stadium bags, we have 5 different bags just there. And the reality is, there need to be a couple of probably 1,000 bag companies making clear bags for all of the people globally that need them. The difference is they'll have to come up to our quality to be competition to us, because cheap is expensive. And as consumers, we know that. Doesn't mean, you know, if you buy something that costs you $15 because you don't want to spend 30, and then that $15 thing breaks, no matter what it is, you wind up going to spend 30, and guess what? You actually spend 45 on something that you could have spent $30 on from the start.
Yes. Yes.
So, and it's
Correct.
educating consumers. It's making people realize that. But I say it all the time. It's the same thing with our radio show. One of our hosts, we did a Baby 911 sleep with Ingrid Pruer, who is the baby sleep whisperer. She was looking to start something, and one of our other hosts, Sina Block, who was doing Managing Mompreneur Mayhem, said, you know, talk to Dori. She wound up coming on and doing a show for about a year with us to get her feet wet. She's on Fox, she's on O, she's all over the place. And every time I see her, I'm like, oh, look at my little girl go. I'm so proud of you, you know, because she needed a place to gain her footing and figure out her voice. And then she went off and did her thing. And I love it. I love that. It's so exciting to me. Renee Sullivan is another one of our hosts. She gave me her first interview. She and her family were on vacation. She sent her husband and her kids into the diner and sat in her car while I interviewed her for Word of Mom Radio.
That's where I was. I was in my car.
Yeah, there you go. And believe me, I've done the show. I've done it from my car. But she actually then became our first sponsor, and now is hosted Keep It Simple with Renee on several occasions. She'll do a 4 to 6 week guest hosting. She's done things on biocurrency and Bitcoins and online marketing and all kinds of things. And it's so funny. And we finally met because we were Facebook friends. We finally met in person. I think our anniversary was like 4 years ago, popped up in one of my memories, that I had been in Massachusetts and we met for a slice of pizza. And now every time I go to Massachusetts, we always find a way to get together. But it was so much fun, and we just laugh at the evolution of her first business, and here it was, to becoming a sponsor, to being a host, all of the things. And it's how she built her business, listening to Janice Clark's social media help not hype show. And half the things that I learn as Janice is talking. I'm taking notes, I'm typing along and stuff, because same thing with our guests. I actually listen to the women I interview.
Yes.
And put into practice things that I never thought of before, because they brought it up in a show and I was like, oh, it never occurred to me to try it like that. Let me do that. You know, and that's what it's about. It really is. And it's exciting because we should be empowering each other. All of us can sing on our own, but when we're singing as a chorus, it matters. And especially now more than ever, women need to have our voices heard.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you.
You know, I've already lived through these fights. You know, I lived through the 60s and 70s. To be watching, it's like deja vu all over again. So ugly.
Yes.
It wasn't ugly back then. It wasn't. It's ugly now. And we do. We just, we have to stand together. As women, we have to
Great.
unite and be the force to be reckoned with that we should be reckoned with.
Yeah, I agree, because I think, I mean, I studied neuroscience, and anatomy, physiology, brain development for years because of my background. And, when people say, oh, men are stronger, men are better, women are stronger, women are better, blah, blah, blah. There's no, it's like apples and oranges, truly. It's like our brains are literally, they look the same, but they're different in the way we do things, the way we process things versus a man. And it's not saying that men are better and women, they're stronger and women aren't. We're just different. We do things differently, and we need both. Like, we need input from both sides. What we do, though, really, really well as women is that it is built into us to just be nurturing. It is. And we nurture each other. And we, instead of looking at it going, this is competition, and this is, oh, this person's a competitor for me, and I'm not gonna be that open with them. And when you get past that and you say, God, I'm just gonna be myself, and we're gonna see what happens, and then and it gives them the space to be themselves, and then people open up, and rather than taking somebody's vulnerability and making it challenging for them, finding out what their weakness is, you say, oh my gosh, you know what? That's mine too. Like, that's your vulnerability. This is mine. And this is what I did to get past mine. And this is what I know, somebody that was like you and did this. And then, like you said, it's like you learn something and you're like, oh my gosh, well, thank you so much. And then what do you want to do in place of that? You want to share something that to like reciprocate for that individual. And then you end up both leaving feeling so much more inspired and so much more empowered because you've interacted in that way, as opposed to being competitive and catty, which is quote, like, that's how women can be and are. And I don't think we're as much as we used to be. Before we go any further, I just do want to give some shout outs, because I have a lot of people on here. So Michelle Houston came on, and Steve Pounds. Hi, Michelle. Michelle says, hi, I'm back. Michelle was on this morning on the show. Morgan Dorita's on. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. I don't even know what time it is. Morgan, I'm here. Michelle, thank you. She says, I look amazing. I just felt like dressing up tonight. I was dressing up for Dori, so, I just wanted to. My sister's on, and my sister says, I agree that some women do not support other women, mainly when they become intimidated by other women. If they are secure and confident, they are more likely to support other women. My sister she's in her late 50s. She into computers when she was like literally the only female back in the 80s, when it still is very male dominated. The salaries are still not equal. And my sister has endured so much of that over the years. And on top of it, she switched her business, and she is a business person. She has her own business in cybersecurity, which is still very much male dominated, and had to put up with that, hearing that from certain people that she's close to saying, when are you going to get a real job? She heard those exact words. Let's see. Michelle Pegliarella is on. Hi, Michelle. And then Beck Rumio says, I can't believe this is really true. I never believed there is a cure to this. Oh, never mind. I don't know what the heck that dude was writing, but it's not anything that we want to talk about. It's talk about herpes. So we'll save that conversation for another time. I don't know. Anyway, so
that stuff's like luggage. We'll talk about it later.
It's gracious. I'm like reading this going, are you kidding me? All right, then, good for you. All right, next. All right, so you have a lot on your plate. You are, like I said, you're a mom, you're a glam mom, you have your own business, you run, you said you did, how many did you do this week? 15.
Oh yeah, I had 15 tapings this week.
15 tapings this week. So how do you create balance for yourself, or practice self-care, or how do you ground yourself every day to be able to just do this, and plus have the spirit that you have.
I'm so lucky to do what I do. It really is, and it's such a pleasure because I have the opportunity to share and speak with so many amazing women. So it's always kind of energizing for me, but I balance it with my grandchildren. You know, I have a 2-year-old grandson who lives up the street, and I had so many bookings this week and still had 15 slots open. So I went in and canceled all my Calendly stuff because I was like, you know what? I've got enough recordings this week. I'll let them all record next week and the week after. And yesterday morning, I got up in the morning, took my shower, put on my mascara, sitting here drinking my cup of tea. And my daughter-in-law called. And as I saw her, I was like, oh, please tell me that I'm watching Danny. And she's like, would you be able to watch Danny this morning? I'm like, absolutely. You know, and I love it because I get to spend my mornings with him. He goes to bed at 12:15, 12:30. My radio show starts at 1. So I sign in, I do everything. He's napping, and I get to come back home and do what I have to do. And then the rest of my yesterday was recordings for the rest of the day. My show ended at 1:30. I recorded at 1:45, 2:30, 3:15, 4 o'clock, and 4:45, you know? And so for my self-care, I love my quiet mornings. I love to walk. I have a park not too far from me that I never knew was here. And March 13th, as all of this started happening, I was bundled up, I was walking, and I was like, what happens if I go down this street? And found this park. And it literally saved my life through all of this. There were days that I walked for 5 or 6 hours.
Wow.
Just lapping the lake, lapping the park, because my clear bag company closed in a day, stadiumbags.com. You do the math. There's no sports, there's no concerts,
Right.
there's no anything. So that part of my life closed. And because of everybody working from home, all the bandwidth, I couldn't get a clean recording no matter
Yes.
what I was doing. Fortunately, I had taped so many shows in January, February, and the first 2 weeks of March, it carried me to the first week of June.
Wow.
So I still had live shows going off every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 o'clock, but that was it. And so, like I said, I walked, and my father, actually, I lost my dad to the virus, and I would literally be standing, you know, walking in the park, talking to his doctor, singing to him so he would eat when he heard my voice and things like that, or if he got agitated, and it would calm him. And that became my self-care. And it's funny because it got so humid for a while, I don't do humidity well. My grandson will play in my house, and I have not a very big place, but he found the door to my bedroom. And so he'd open and close the door. Hi. And then he'd come running in. Oh, but bye-bye now. And then he'd go running back in. Literally for 28 minutes, he did this one, the first day he did it. And then grabbed his blanket. He was ready for a nap. On the really humid days, I just started walking around my apartment for an hour. Literally going up and down the step to from the kitchen to the living room, like 500 times, just doing the step. I was like, you know what? It's cool here. An hour walking is an hour walking, whether I'm walking in the park or whatever. But I do those little things. I buy myself flowers. You know, I put mascara on every day for me. I get dressed like I'm going to my office. My office is my kitchen table or my chair, depending on what office I feel like being in that day. But I dress as if I'm going to the office. And you know what? I live alone. I do these things for me. I could just be in my PJs, do nothing, you know. I do this for myself to make me feel good, just because it makes me feel good. And I don't need anybody's permission.
Yes, that's right.
It is for me. And I think that's sometimes for women, it's so hard because we're always trying to, you know, women don't dress for men, we dress for other women.
Ah,
You know, and how
Right.
women are going to perceive us. I have always been that wonky 60 chick. I mean, come on, I'm in tie-dye right now, and so I've always had my own style. And, very often in business, most women dress in business the way they think a man would dress if he was a woman in business. The way they tailor business suits and things like that. I dress like a woman because I'm a woman.
Yes.
And because that's how I'm comfortable. And I don't dress for anybody else but me. I do what I do for me. And if it makes you feel good, great. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's on you. I can't be anything other than who I am. I don't know how to be anybody else but myself. And I've never tried to be anybody else but myself.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. Have you always had that insight your whole entire life?
Yeah. I'm that person, Lori. I am somebody people are going to, it's like Dori. It's like, oh my God, I love her. Oh, I hate her. Nobody's ever going to say, yeah, she's okay. I'm not that person. I'm just not that person. You're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. That's it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because as long as I like me, that's really, and I think that is the hardest thing. My mommy always said it, that if you are not your own best friend, you can never be a friend to anybody else. And it sounds so trite, but it's true. We shouldn't have to ask for permission to take care of ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Right.
As a single
We do
mom, when
that.
my kids were little, I can remember being in the grocery store, picking up everything, and then thinking about how much money I had to spend on groceries, and all the little things I wanted went back. Because let's face it, when your kids are younger, too bad. You don't get to go first when you have small kids. It's one of my favorite things about food shopping now is everything that goes in that carton is for me. I buy what I want, the way I like it, and everything else. And then I buy the stuff for my grandson. There's never a day that I shop that something isn't in there for Danny. And now my granddaughter Edie's only 8 weeks old, so I haven't been able to get her anything yet, but a fun little rattle teether and some clothes. But I look around my house, and a third of my house is grandchildren things.
Well, listen, I got to point something out because Michelle had wrote, she said, where was it? Up here. She said, you look amazing. And I thanked her. And then she wrote, I was talking to Dori.
Thanks, Michelle.
I love it, Michelle. Michelle's like, you always look stunning inside out. Oh my God, I love it. Yes. Doesn't she looks, and you know what? Dori and I met, we met at, where did we meet? It was either a chamber of commerce.
Nicole, it was Nicole.
Oh, it's Nicole's thing. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, the women's venue that she did. And
yes,
I walked
that's
into
right.
a workshop.
Yes. And I instantly fell in love with Dori because she's just, all I saw was smile. Like that she walked in and then your energy. And then we just start chit-chatting quickly, and instantly I'm like, see, I'm on the pro Dori side. I'm like, I love this woman. Like this woman is just absolutely fat. Like she's one of those women that you just start talking to, and you look around and you're like, wait a minute, did I just meet her? Like, did I know? Like I was so convinced that I knew you before because you looked so familiar to me. And
I remember that.
I couldn't think, like, I'm like, I know you, but I think that's just you. I think that's just your aura. I think that's your energy is you just have, do people say that to you sometimes that they're like, do I know you? Like, have I ever met you before?
All the time. Nicole, I met Nicole who ran that women's event.
Yes.
Online at Aldi's. We started chatting at Aldi's. And then where I used to have my office, she happened to be there one day, and then, 5 days after we had met at Aldi's, she saw our clear bags, and she's like, wait a minute, that can't be the same woman, and comes walking in, and I was like, hi, oh my gosh, because we started talking on the checkout line. and then
Yeah.
wound up at the event. That's how I met you. I have that face. People like to talk to me, and I love to talk back.
Yeah, and
love to
I
talk
do
to people.
too. I do too. My family hates going anywhere with me because I always have to have a conversation with like the checkout people, anybody that works at a place. They're like, come on, Ma, come on. And Nicole is the same way. She's the same type of person.
Yep.
Nicole is like that. She's that person that you just met her and you're like sharing the most intimate details because you feel like you've known her for so long. And I have to tell you that, I wasn't always this way. I always thought I was. I always thought I was very outgoing, very open, very loving, very compassionate. But really, I was so in such a scarcity mindset because I was so insecure and so miserable in my life. And it wasn't until like I hit my low point, my rock bottom, and then I transformed. And that's when you have to be accountable. And you look back and you're like, how was I living my life? And then you start saying, who am I now? Who do I want to be? And then I look back and I said, oh my God, all the things that I didn't want to be, that's who I was. And when I finally got past that, that's why for you to have that insight for your whole life and what your mom said to you was just absolutely spectacular. My parents did the best they could. They're wonderful people, but they had their own insecurities. And we grew up that way. So we all grew up very insecure, my siblings and I. And, if you don't have the right footing, you just sort of go out into the world with what you have and you think it's okay and it's not. And that's what I did. I would always be like wanting permission for everything, wanting permission for my happiness, wanting for, I grew up with an Italian mom who was big on the martyr thing. And, everybody else first, you're dead last. You're like picking up scraps on the floor to eat, after everybody's eaten already, And I realized that's such a foolish way of thinking because you're a giver. You love helping people. I love helping people. And I've known that all my life. And now I do it with such beauty and compassion. And I love what I do as well. But you can't help people unless you fill your cup up. You have to take care of you to be able to take care of other people. Like if you didn't take care of you, you would not be able to get on your show and interview all these fabulous women and then let all these women share their story with all these other fabulous women. You're the piece and you have to take care of yourself. And I love it that yours is so simple. Like it's just, I walk and I couldn't walk around the park. So I was walking in my apartment, that's what brings me joy.
It really does. And it's funny because so often we kind of have to ask permission of ourselves. When my kids were little, I got divorced when my kids were 6, 4, and 2.
Mm.
And I used to stand in my closet and cry because I was so unhappy. And my mom was still alive. And she used to say to me, if you are this unhappy, you owe it to yourself to leave. And I was like, Mommy, I have 3 kids. I owe it to them to do whatever I can to make my marriage work. And then my mom died in 1994, January 9th, and my marriage ended March 15th. So 94 was a banner year.
Wow.
But I realized that as a parent, if I didn't put myself first in that instance, that my kids were going to grow up thinking that this was what marriage was. And I'm blessed. My children's dad and I are the best of friends. We sat down at the kitchen table. We never went to court. We never fought. We divided up our lives, went and drew up a separation agreement, had it notarized. A year later, we went to a lawyer. And the guy was like, let me tell you a little about myself. I raised my hand. I was like, excuse me, Mr. Are you a lawyer? He said, yes, I am. I said, are you licensed to practice in New York State? He said, yes, I am. I said, for $285 an hour, that's all we need to know about you. And 2 hours later, we were done. And he goes, in my professional opinion, this is a very unorthodox agreement. I said, you know what? It's your job to make it legal. It's our job to make it work.
Yes.
And it worked all these years. And I actually just shared a Facebook memory about 2 days ago of the first day 2 years ago where Danielle and I met our grandson together. because of course I had been here with the baby. He had come up from Virginia, but I was away, and he was up visiting, and I made dinner for all of us. But it was our first time seeing the baby together. And we were hugging each other, and I was saying to him, look at what we did. Because we were brave enough to try. Even though our marriage didn't work, we found a way to raise our kids together. And look, I was like, and we're hugging each other as I'm saying all of this. My son is sitting on the couch watching us. And I'm like, did you ever think you could love somebody this much? And he was like, no. And at one point, the baby was sleeping. We were out on the sun porch, and we were sitting there. The four of us are talking. I looked at him. I said, do you want to go look at the baby with me? He's like, yes. And we just went back in, and we're standing there with our arm around each other, looking down at our grandson, just like, it's unbelievable. And, you know, through it all, we put our kids first. But it wasn't until I put myself first that I realized I couldn't do this to them. They're, you know, my son who has my grandson, at one point he was like, you know, Mom, I mean, 50% of marriages don't work. And I was like, yeah, but here's the thing, 50% do. And forget the national, world average, whatever. Look at your own family. Yes, your mother and father didn't work. All the rest of your aunts and uncles are married 20 or 30 or 40 years. Your grandparents are getting ready to celebrate 55 years of marriages. Your aunts, you know, you have nothing but amazing models of marriage around you. And it's true. And both my sons are with amazing women. And my daughter's doing her thing. You know, she's not ready for that. She's 28. I'm like, rock on. I want to be just like her when I grow up.
Yeah.
If I ever grow up, because, you know, I'm still 17 in my soul. When she turned 20, Lori, it was so funny. She blew out the candles of her cake, and I was like, well, it's official. Mommy's the last teenager left in the family.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Oh,
It's true. But you know what? To all of the moms out there that are listening, and the dads too, but really for moms, because as women, we really do put ourselves last on the list. And if your world isn't circling around you the right way, you can't be the mother you want to be. You can't be the friend, you can't be the partner, you can't be the lover, you can't be the businesswoman. You have to find that way, because it is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. It's selfish
that's
of
right.
you not to care for yourself.
Yes, that's
Because then you're
correct.
poisoning everything around you. When you care for yourself, when you find, I don't care if you have to I used to get up an hour and a half earlier than my kids did, just so I could have my morning pot of tea.
Yes.
Because as long as nobody
The
bothers me before my first cup of tea, we're good.
That's
You
a
know?
quiet time. I'm the same way. I get up before even the dogs are even up. Like they don't even want
There
to.
you go.
And I have my moment to myself, and I can do whatever I want. I can have my coffee. I could read. I could write. I could catch up on some work. I can meditate. I do whatever I want, but I get up that early just so that I have that time for myself, and it's absolutely spectacular. Yeah, I love
It
it.
is. And I love that all of a sudden, you know, self-care has become such buzzwords right now. And again, it is not being selfish. It is not being selfish to care for yourself. Because when you care for yourself, it gives you the tools to care for other people. Because
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
abundance. Yeah, there's an abundance. You don't run out of, oh, well, I've got enough care. I've run out of what I can get. No, it's an unending well of strength and resilience. And, you know, there are times, that frustration time, I don't know about you, but I love a good cry every once in a while
Yes,
when
me
things
too.
are, you know, and I will throw on something like Terms of Endearment or Steel Magnolias. Fast forward to those scenes that are literally going to just make me burst into tears, so I can get that cathartic
Yes.
cry out and then just go, ah, you know. Through the loss of my dad and I had a wonderful childhood. The middle of my life you know, it was, as long as I said, yes, Daddy, we never had an argument. But he was not somebody that you could even voice your opinion with. That never really works very well for me. So we spent a lot of decades like this.
Yeah.
But as he went through his dementia and everything, I got to be his little girl again, because all of that was gone for him. And I was strong enough to let my stuff go, because there's no reason to carry that kind of hurt and sadness and anger, and for what? You know, for absolutely what? The only thing holding on to that stuff does is weigh you down.
That's
in
right.
ways that it comes out in ridiculous ways.
Yes.
You know? And so even at the end, where my dad really didn't, I don't even know if he knew who it was when I got there. I was just a pretty girl to him. But you know what? He lit up like a candle, and I showed him every picture that he ever had of his great-grandson, every video I've ever had. My last memory of my daddy was him scoffing down 4 eclairs, drinking a cup of coffee, laughing at my grandson doing bingo with me. You know, where he's going B and I'm going INGOB. It was the cutest thing. And my dad just laughing and laughing and laughing. Those are the memories that I'll hold. I can't hold on. That's the other part of my self-care, I guess, is that I just don't hold on to the negative things that I can't change anyway.
Yes.
You know?
That I think you are just absolutely extraordinary, because you have such insight that people will go out to learn. Like they'll go to personal development, they'll go to a coach to learn this, to have that idea that, you know, staying, if you're living in the past, you stay tethered to that past, and if you don't let it go, you don't give any room for anything else to come in, anything new. You can't go into your future with the same mindset from your past, because you will just keep reliving the past and nothing will happen. And I think too that what you've also really gotten across to the viewers is the fact that self-care is what you decide it is. There's nothing specific. Like when people say practice self-care, meditation, or like even mindfulness practice, meditation, yoga, those are beautiful and they're wonderful. And do them if that's in your practice. But you could sit down and, like you said, watch a movie that makes you cry. That's very cathartic. That's a self-care. Watch a comedy movie. Like I have this little guilty pleasure of, I find it very funny when people fall. And I say to my kids, listen, I love you, but if you fall, I'm going to laugh. I'll check, make sure you're okay. But if you're fine, I'm going to laugh. And my teenager knows this. And there's been a couple of times where I laugh and she's like, Mom, I got hurt. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't. And she knows me. Like, she knows I don't mean anything. But, and then I'll, you know, of course, if she's hurt, I will calm it down. But so I'll sometimes go on YouTube and I'll just type in people falling. And it's like of people falling. And I get my little laugh in, you know, and it's just beautiful. And I know it works for me, you know. So it's the key thing too is that not only give yourself permission for the self-care, but also make a list of what it is that you know will work for you. Just because somebody else says, like my sister loves getting her nails done and stuff like that. That's not me. Like I got all dressed up, but prior to this, I was out shoveling dirt and gravel. That's what I was doing before. And I'm looking down, I'm like, oh, I look all nice. And I look down at my fingernails. I got dirt all in my fingernails, but that's me. That's who I am. And, you know, so manicure, pedicure, maybe that would be nice, but that's not my cup of tea, you know. But if that works for you, then wonderful. Then do it, right? Anything that makes you buy yourself flowers. And again, I'm going to leave her address. You're going to send her flowers, send Dori flowers. So you buy yourself flowers because you love it. It makes you feel good. It brings you and that's fantastic. Michelle's been writing a lot of stuff. Let's see what Michelle has. Dori has a smile that can light the world. That's what she said.
Oh, thanks, Michelle.
She put hashtag Team Dori. And Michelle is a bright star herself, too, because Michelle has this absolutely phenomenal dog. And Michelle, I saw you post Jeffrey's picture. I saw it pop up on I think it was either Facebook or Instagram. And he's like a therapy dog. Like he goes and he visits people, and he is the most beautiful, right? He's a pit bull, I believe, Michelle. And
I love pit bulls.
Docile. He's so sweet. He's won awards, but it speaks volumes too of your care for him, Michelle, because you created him. You helped create him, and at the same time, it's reciprocal because he's opened her up, and it's just like this big love fest. She says, you have totally transformed since I first met you. You were always amazing. You are just so much more now. I'm assuming now that that's to me. I'm assuming.
I would think.
Okay, unless Michelle, she's met you before and you don't know. Okay, my ex-husband and I get along like that, and I adore his wife. That's beautiful. Hello, Connie Rodriguez says on. Connie, good morning. In the morning and in the afternoon. And then Michelle says, I'm the same way, and she was laughing. So I'm not sure which that went to. But so you know what? You said we covered everything. I mean, I didn't even follow like asking the specific questions. We just went right in. So you could see she's done this before. She was happy to be the one being interviewed. Usually she's interviewing. So this is
it's always fun.
Absolutely spectacular to have you on. So what can you give? We have a few minutes left. What do you want to share, like last minute insight? Where could they find you? Where could they listen to you? Where could they buy, your products? I mean, just give everybody everything that they can get to you.
Send me a friend request on Facebook, Dori DeCarlo. Follow us on Word of Mom. We're Word of Mom Media Network on actually just Word of Mom on Facebook. And you can find us at Blog Talk Radio /Word of Mom Radio. Stadium Bags, we're on Shopify right now. So it's clearstadiumbags.myshopify.com. We actually have some really cool stuff. We did an amazing pivot. I can't talk about it yet because we're still signing paperwork and stuff, but here. I'm always out here, wanting to share, wanting to talk. Facebook message me. I am definitely that person that sees the post of somebody who's sad and just sends my number because I'm always here to talk to. I always have an ear. I have got really strong shoulders, and don't be afraid. Don't be, so many of us have ideas and want to start a business, especially now with everything going on and all of the pivoting that is happening. Go for it.
Yes.
You've got nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Following your dreams, it's a joyful thing to do, and it gives other people permission to follow their dreams.
Yes.
Because everybody's going to tell you that you can't, and I'm going to tell you that you can. So, listen to Dori. Listen to Lori. Yeah. Listen to Dori. We're telling you, you can do it. You can do it. It may not be what you envisioned. Believe me, people, I think of the iceberg. And so you see the tip of the iceberg and nobody sees the 50 billion tons of ice that is underneath that had to raise that iceberg up to the top because nobody understands. People think you go like this to, success. And they don't realize that you're going like this. It's Jeremy Bearimy. If you watched The Good Place, that's life. It's Jeremy Bearimy, baby, because it is just going to go all over the place. But no matter what life throws at you, you're 100% at surviving it so far. So guess what? You can do it. You really can. And
absolutely.
I really thank you for having me on. This has been so much fun. It really has. And you need to come back on Word of Mom Radio because
I know.
So many things are happening with you and your practice and stuff. You got to refresh our listeners and let them know all the things that are happening with you.
And I just miss you in general. Like it was just so spectacular to like connect with you. And so we have to just get together anyway.
Yes,
I mean,
we do.
But so everyone, and Michelle wrote, yes, sweetest soul ever. So she's just.
Oh, Michelle, thank you. I really hope you send me a friend request.
I like to tell people because I'm the same way. And you know what, what Dori's saying, she's not kidding. She is accessible. If she's saying to connect with her, reach out to her, she will get back to you. And I tell people this all the time too, that I have a code. Once people know me and they have my phone number and they know they can text me, I have a code and I say, listen, if you're having a particularly bad day, just send me a poop emoji. First of all, I think the poop emoji was the best like emoji ever made. I think they're fabulous. And so when people do that, it's code for like, all they don't say anything. They just send the poop and I know, uh-oh. And I have two things. I either have to, I text them, I say, do you need to talk? Do you want to talk right now? Do you want me to text? Or I'll just send them a barrage of ridiculous emojis, like just, and nothing that makes any sense, just so that the next emoji that comes back in is LOL or the laughing face. Because this is what you do, like when you have tribe members, it's not just about, yes, you practice self-care, but we're also here to remind you to do it. We're here to remind you to just be you and be happy and enjoy life. And, yep. And yes, so reach out to Dori. More than happy to talk to you. And yes, reach out to me. And Dori, I'm so glad you came on. I really have missed you. I really.
Me too. Sweet. It has been awesome. And we definitely, we just need to get together. We really do.
Sounds absolutely great.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
And all of you out there watching, thanks so much for spending some time with us.
And tune into Word of Mom Radio. And if you need a bag that can just get through anywhere, definitely connect with Dori to order some of those bags. So again, everyone, thanks so much for coming on this week for another episode of Mindful Conversations. I am Dr. Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha. And remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. Thanks so much and take care.